Welcome back to NetLab 24 using vSphere Lifecycle Manager. This is Richard Golson, and we're looking at part 2, import update files to the image depot. So in this task, we're going to import an ESXi image, sample vendor add-ons, and the sample test components to the vSphere Lifecycle Manager image depot. We will then use these images to update the hosts in a cluster we will create called VLCM. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so you can see here I've navigated over the shortcuts page, and from here I can click on Lifecycle Manager, or I could go to my menu, and from the drop down you can see that I can click the Lifecycle Manager here. And so let's take a quick look at this. Here we can see in the Lifecycle Manager that we by default land on Image Depot. If you're working with the old baselines that were available at 6.5, you could just go over here and you can see that there's already some baselines on here from previous implementations, but we're not going to be working with any of those. You also have imported ISOs, updates, and Image Depot. Lastly, looking on this end here, you can see that we have settings for, say, patch downloads, patch setup, etc. Different things there. And then for host remediation, you can see that we can change the settings for images, as well as baselines and VMs. All right, let's go back over to the Image Depot, and what we're going to do is the import of those different images. So if we take a look here, I'll go ahead and go to my actions and select import updates. Next, what I need to do is browse to those files that have been stored on my system here, and you can see them right here. Let's go back a level here, and you can see the 3 zip files I'll need to import in turn. Let me go ahead and minimize that. And so why don't we start with a sample add-on? So I'll hit my browse and make sure I go to where I store those, which is in Documents, Class Files. Make sure I grab the zip files and not the decompressed file. And there's my sample add-on zips. So select that, open it, and allow it to upload. Looks like it's just about done. And you can see it's completing the upload here. This should go fairly quickly as this is a pretty small file. Okay, so I don't see anything in here yet. And if I do a refresh, I still don't see anything. So what's going on here? Well, let's go ahead and take a look across here. So in the Image Depot, you can scroll down and you will find that here is what we uploaded, and this is going to be the vendor add-ons. Let's go ahead and do our next upload. So import updates, and then we'll click browse. And this time around, let's go ahead and select the large file here. And we want to go ahead and select the depot zip. Notice the size of this zip file. It's pretty large. So I'll go ahead and open that up. And this may take a little bit longer. It's moving along pretty quickly right now. I'm going to go ahead and pause this video and then we'll continue watching it when it's done. Here you can see it's in its next stage of import update. And now you can see in the Image Depot that we have our ESXi versions, our host versions. And we have 2 different versions listed here with the release dates. You can see these are both enhancements. Now, before we upload the last one, let's go ahead and take a look at each one. So if I select this one here, you can see that it shows me version 7.0b. And if you scroll through it, you can see different components. And so what you'll see is a series of drivers in this case. There's an ESXi build file here. Install upgrade components, more drivers, etc. So it's a pretty lengthy list. If I scroll back up to the top here, that exposes the second enhancement package. And if we take a look here, you can see it looks pretty similar to what we saw in the first one. Okay, so let's go ahead and repeat and upload. Now we did the sample add-ons a little bit earlier. And so that sample add-ons, just as a reminder, that was the vendor add-ons that we uploaded. And you can see there's several vendor add-ons here. Here's one here. A little test add-on. These are all test add-ons, so you're not really going to see much of anything in there. And this is really, they're all fall under the category of bug fix. But again, these are really just for purposes of this lab. And then we'll do our last one. So the last item we're going to update or upload, the third file, is the VIB test certs. So let's go ahead and scroll back to the top. And we'll go ahead and get those VIB test certs. And that loaded up pretty darn quick. And you'll see it automatically, the interface automatically rolled down to show you your most recent upload. And so here we can see the test VIB signing certs, a test component, and if you select each one in turn, you'll get a little bit of information about them. Not a lot. Notice the severity level on this one is very important. Same with this. And same with this one. Also notice that there's links included with some of these items, and if this were a production server or a production environment, or in other words, not NetLab, these links should work, but NetLab's sandbox, so you won't be able to access the associated documentation. But it's kind of handy so that you can go in there and find out information about each of these. So we've successfully uploaded our packages, and we have quite a few items here. So we have the ESXi versions, we have the vendor add-ons, and we have the components. So there you go. Let's go ahead and get ready to take a look at our next section, which will be creating the cluster with the Lifecycle Manager enabled. I'll see you then.